I want to turn your attention to an incident that took place where Gail Bryant, your neighbor, called you over. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Would you please tell the jury about it?
It was late one evening. The street lights were on. It was dark. She asked me, she said, "There's something going on next door. Come over here." So I went over there, and we went to her laundry room, and we could hear what we sounded like a woman screaming for help.
Did you hear the words that person was saying?
It sounded like she was saying, "Help me."
What happened next?
We listened for a while, and then we heard what we sounded like a saw or a motor or something running. We called the police and told them what we heard, and we waited and we waited. Seems like a couple hours, and I finally went home.
Did you ever speak to the police that night?
No, not that night.
Can you describe for the jury, did you ever see the defendant with shovels or digging or anything like that?
Yes.
Please describe that for the jury.
It was a few times he would be out in the front of his property in the culvert of the ditch, and he would be digging out there as if he was going to be putting a driveway in or something like that.
Did you ever see him coming out of the woods or anything like that?
Yes.
Describe that for the jury.
I would go pick up my granddaughter at school at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and as I drove around Bowden Circle and stopped at a stop sign at Belfort Road, a few times, I'm not sure how many, I saw him coming across the road with a shovel in his hand.
And is this the area where Plattsburgh Creek runs?
Yes.
Can you describe for the jury how the defendant's home was in terms of fencing and tarps and things like that?
He had, like if you were looking at your property, one side and another, there were great big high poles with a rope strung across it, and he had blue tarps that hung from the high in the air all the way to the ground, so you could not see into the yard.
Did you ever see the defendant using any type of saws to cut things in his yard?
Yes.
Did you also see things like a pressure washer?
Yes.
Can you describe seeing the defendant use the pressure washer?
There was one time when he had a rolled up piece of carpet attached to his bicycle, and he was riding down the road pulling the bicycle behind him. And then he was gone.
Bicycle behind him or pulling the carpet behind him?
Pardon me?
Pulling the bicycle behind him? Or
No,
pulling...
he was riding the bicycle with the carpet attached,
Okay.
pulling it down the road. And then the next time I saw him later that day, the carpet was strung across a big rope thing, and he was pressure washing it.
I'm going to show you a series of pictures. You have a monitor to your left. See that?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to show you a series of pictures. Beginning first, I'm going the wrong way, with State's Exhibit 1. Do you see that?
Yes.
Could you please circle the defendant's home?
With my hand?
Yes, ma'am. Know whose home is just to the right?
Yes.
And who is that?
Gail Bryant.
Is that the home you went to when you heard the girl screaming for help?
Yes.
Can you kind of show the juror where you were when you heard those screams?
It was back in the back here, in the back of the house. There's a door back there.
Showing you State's Exhibit 2. Do you recognize that photograph?
Yes.
What is it?
That's Rusty's house.
And is that fairly and accurately depict what Mr. Defendant's house looked like between 2012 and 2015?
It does, except I don't see the blue tarp that's hanging to the ground.
Okay. State's Exhibit 3. What do we see here?
Yes, that's it. That's the blue tarp that hung to the ground.
And State's Exhibit 4.
Yes.
Can you describe how the defendant would enter his home, go back and forth?
Well, there were times when he would walk in, but sometimes the gates would be open, and he would drive his vehicle in, and he would drive it like through the tarp, and it would raise up, and then as he drove in, then it would fall back down.
Showing you State's 56, can you show the jury where Bowden Circle East is on that map?
It's right in here.
And can you show the jury where Pottsburg Creek is?
Goodness.
It is labeled on there,
Yeah, it's down in here. Yes, I see now.
so it's basically right next to Bowden Circle East and Belfort Road,
Yes,
where you were describing you were at the stop sign.
yes.
Show you a couple more of these. State's Exhibit 57. We see 3351 Bowden Circle East. Is that the defendant's home?
Yes,
Did you circle your home for the jury? You're really basically right across the street.
yes,
And then, State's Exhibit 58. Does this fairly and accurately depict what Pottsburg Creek looks like in the corner of Bowden Circle and Belfort?
yes.
That's all the questions I have.
Okay, thank you. Cross? Yes, sir.
Ms. Campbell, you said that night that you heard the screaming and then a saw of some sort, that Annette called the police?
Pardon me?
Said that your friend called the police that night?
I believe I was the one that, I don't remember. I don't remember who called the police. One of us did.
But you never talked to the police that night?
No,
Neither of you did.
no.
About what year was this?
Oh, my goodness. I don't remember the year.
But screaming happened all the time at that house. It was
Yes,
late at night, partying, that sort of thing, right?
yes,
Running power tools all the time,
yes,
pressure washers all the time.
yes.
So seeing him pressure washing a rug out front, is that unusual?
No,
That sort of stuff all the time?
yes.
What kind of work did he do, you know?
I didn't know that he never worked that I know of.
Like, he would go off during the day and come back, right?
Yes,
Something during the day, right? Had tools all over the house, right?
I never was in the house.
Ever build something for your friend?
He built a porch for her.
Well done.
Yes, as far as I know,
So from a construction standpoint, he knew
yes.
that's what he did.
I don't know.
Don't know really when this screaming and chainsaw thing was or saw thing was, right?
It had to be around 2000, the end of 2014, 2015, maybe. I'm not sure.
Detectives come out and talk to you after his house got roped off and there were police out there and all that stuff?
Yes,
Tell them about that?
yes,
Tell them about the screaming and the chainsaw?
yes.
Or it was, do you remember which detective?
I did talk to Detective Sullivan, but I'm not sure it was him that we talked to that night. Or not sure if he's the one I talked to.